Hey everybody, it's Julie Melillo. I'm a life coach here in Manhattan. My website is yourdreamslifecoach.com for individuals and nycexecutivecoach.com for executives. So today I'm going to talk about your resources and what you should do if you feel like you just don't have any resources and you don't have any time, you don't have any money, and what should you do? How do you move forward if you don't feel like you have enough of the resources you need? So the first thing to look at is what resources do you have? Because we always have something. It's rare that we have every single thing at once, but we all have something. Resources can be time, money, energy. That can be physical energy, that can be emotional and spiritual energy. That's what I consider the main categories, those right there. Everything else is just icing on the cake. So look at what you've got already and make really good use of it. That's what's going to help you to flow into the areas where you feel like you're lacking. So instead of putting all your energy on how do I get the stuff that I don't have, put your energy and put your attention on the things that you do have in those areas, focus on them, and use it. Use everything you've got. That will position you nicely to flow into those areas where you feel like you're lacking. Let me give you some examples. So let's say that you feel like you have a ton of money right now, but you have no time, and all you want is time, and all you have is money. And this is a big problem. Instead of trying to force yourself to make time that you don't have yet, look at how you can make that money work for you better. Spend more of your money is a place to start, using what you've got. So when you feel free to spend more money, and you do things that are feeling good to you, then you can start to solve some problems. Like if you don't have any time, spend that money to do things that will free up time in the long run. So maybe you need to hire a maid, and you need to hire a personal assistant, and you need to hire someone to do your laundry, and just all of these tasks that normally you're doing. Maybe you need to hire people for things that you just feel like it's ridiculous to even hire someone to do. Like maybe you never thought you'd be the kind of person that had a dog walker, but maybe you really need a dog walker right now. So go ahead and use that resource of money to free up some time. And don't feel guilty about it, because sometimes that's what holds us back from doing these things, is we say, oh, I just don't have any time, but then you feel guilty hiring someone to do that, and then you stay stuck. Okay, so let's look at the opposite problem. Let's say you have tons of time and you have no money. For example, let's say you've been laid off and you've used up a lot of your savings. You have no money, you have tons of time. Use that time. Use all of the time that you have. It's such a huge resource that when you don't have it, you just, you can't use it what you don't have. So think of all the ways that you can use that time and the things that feel good to you about using that time. So for example, if you don't have a job and you have tons of time, what can you do with that time that other people can't, who don't have that time to use? Maybe you can research a company in depth in a way that you couldn't if you were trying to get a job and you already had a job. Maybe you can put a lot of time into crafting your self-presentation so that your interviews are just stellar and amazing. Maybe you can put a lot of time into your self-development, and you can read a lot of books on how you improve yourself, how you change your thoughts and beliefs so that you can get more of what you want faster. Maybe you can use that time to really craft your resume, to work on your LinkedIn profiles, to look under every rock for every job that could be out there. Even to consider starting a business on the side. You can start to research, what are the laws like? What permits do I need? How do I get started? You have time to do all these things, which is exciting. So you can see already that whatever resource you have is enough, because starting at that resource, using everything you've got, asking yourself what would feel good to me to focus on right now, will help you then to flow into the other area. So the person who has no time but money can find ways to actually create more time. Not overnight, but starting up. And the person who has all this time but they don't have any money, they can use that time to then later create money. You can do the same thing if you're lacking in your emotional energy level, your physical energy level, your spiritual energy level. Start with what you've got. Use that and then flow into the rest. So if you're really lacking in your physical energy level, let's say that you've been fatigued lately, you haven't been focused because you're just so tired and you're so stressed and things are just stressing you out. We'll start with where you're at and what can you do despite having this energy drains? Like, what activities can you still do? What can you do with the resources you've got now? So let's say all you can do right now is like lie in bed, and that's basically as much energy as you have. You're just drained. Well, lie in bed, and what can you do there? You can read a book. You can read your Kindle or your iPad if you have those, but a book works fine too. You can put your laptop on your lap if you've got a laptop. If you don't have a laptop, you can take a notebook so that you can take notes on your ideas, or do writing or take notes from the books that you're reading. And you can do a lot of work being physically exhausted. And that's a cool thing. So you can start from a place of just not even being able to get out of your bed, and you can end up getting out of that by, for example, the things that you learn in those books could help you improve your health. The things that you're researching on your laptop, how to reduce fatigue, and maybe you can get to the bottom of some of your health issues and where they're coming from. Often health issues come from an emotional place in addition, like when we have really high stress or we have a lot of inner conflict within ourselves, these become draining and stressful. So the learning and the discovery that you do with no energy can help you step out of that. So just start with what you've got. Don't feel bad or guilty about being where you are, because no one has the full thing. Everyone has either more time or more money. Everyone has, different levels of energy and all these things, and they're switching from day to day. One day you might have tons of physical energy, the next you might be like exhausted, and just make use of what you have. So on that exhausted day, do your internet research. Do, your boring task of making all your lists and your plans for the week. Research what events and classes and places you want to be going, what meetings you need to go to, do your research then. And then that day that you find you have a ton of physical energy and you're just like, wow, I feel great. That's the time to do all of your physical tasks that you've had on your list and to go out and just knock everything off that list and go to the gym and really push yourself harder than normal. Make use of that physical energy. Maybe even go out and take a dance class or go running or play sports or go out and meet friends and, walk around the city and stay out a bit later than you normally would. So it's really about day to day asking yourself, what resources do I have? How can I use them to the fullest? And that will then flow into the areas that you don't have. Same with emotional energy. If you just feel like drained and you're so tired of people and people keep letting you down and you're just like depressed and drained, we'll start from that place and ask yourself, what can you still do even though you feel that way? Like maybe you don't feel comfortable walking into a networking event and being all cheery and happy, but maybe there's a small step that you can take towards that, even though you're drained, right? Like maybe you can focus on where is that drain feeling coming from, and you can write in some journals about what your feelings are like. Maybe you can express those feelings and even, call a friend and let them know, hey, this is how I'm feeling lately. I'm just feeling like this way and that way. Get those feelings out, right? Express them. And then a different day when you have tons of emotional energy and you're just like flowing over with this great positive energy, that's your time to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and there's this event that happens every Wednesday and it's like a networking thing. I'm actually going to go this Wednesday and I'm going to RSVP because this is a great time to use this emotional energy that I have. And in fact, I'm going to maybe make some phone calls and set up some things on my social life, or maybe there's some like issues you haven't resolved in some of your relationships. When you're like bubbling over with this happy energy, that's a great time to make those calls or say, hey, can you meet me for a cup of coffee? I just want to, talk about some stuff, and go ahead and resolve those issues then at a time that you're feeling like overwhelmingly positive and just full of emotional energy. And then you won't be as brought down I mean, you might still be brought down by stuff, but you have excess, so you can use that. So, my whole message here is that no matter what you feel like you're lacking, and you might be lacking a lot of stuff, sometimes you are, or whatever limitations you have, or whatever beliefs are in your way, or tasks you just can't seem to do, put that on the back burner for a second and ask, what do you have and what can you make use of right now? What resources do you have? Do you have money? Do you have time? Do you have emotional energy? Do you have spiritual energy? Do you have physical energy? Go ahead and use those to the fullest, and those will definitely flow into the other areas that you're lacking in. And what you can find happen when you're doing that, instead of trying to force yourself to do something that you just don't really have the resources to do, for example, forcing yourself to go to a networking event when you're emotionally drained, forcing yourself to go on a date when you're emotionally drained and maybe physically drained too, forcing yourself to go to the gym when you have no physical energy, forcing yourself to make a lot of big purchases when you're financially strapped, forcing yourself to commit to a lot of time commitments when you have no time. This is often what we do, and this is, in my opinion, the wrong path. Because when there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But when there's nothing there, there's something there in other areas. And sometimes we don't notice the wealth of resources we have until we look for them. So what do you have? What do you have right now? Do you have enough energy to sit in bed with your laptop and do some research? Because if so, do it. Do you have enough emotional energy to, maybe work on some relationships, even though you might not have energy in other areas? Do you have a lot of physical energy and you can go to the gym and really work out tonight, or maybe take a class at the gym or something like that, or lift more weights than you normally would? Do you have money and like nothing else, and everything else is depleted, but you have money that you can actually invest in yourself, invest in some things that will start growing so that can get to a higher level, and you can come back to that when you have resources in other areas. So just start with what you've got, use it to the fullest, and that will help you build up those other areas counterintuitively, instead of forcing yourself to work on the things where you just don't have what you need. So I hope that was interesting. Like I said, my name is Julie. I'm a life coach here in Manhattan. My website is yourdreamslifecoach.com for individuals and nycexecutivecoach.com for executives. So go on my websites and email me for rates. You can also send me an email to yourdreamslifecoach@gmail.com. That's yourdreamslifecoach@gmail.com, and just put rates in the subject line and tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're looking for in a coach. I do in-person sessions in Manhattan below 59th Street in the city, and I also do Skype worldwide and phone sessions in the rest of the country. So if you're looking for a coach, consider hiring me. It can really help. Like I said, if you're depleted in one area, but you have the time and money for coaching, that makes sense. Even if you just have 1 hour a week, that's enough time for coaching. So it's a place to get started versus trying to force yourself to do things that you're maybe not even ready for, and the timing isn't right. So give that all some thought, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a great week.